Jewish Family Services is a dynamic institution in our community. The work that Jewish Family Services does on a day in and day out basis is sacred work, filling our world with Kedusha, filling our world with holiness. As we gather in this moment in this virtual way, we think about this sacred work and we think about the year ahead. How do we begin this year? We begin it with innovation. We begin it with creativity. That is what Jewish Family Services does each and every day. It is a unique Beit Midrash in that we study the world's problems, we study the world's challenges that are facing each individual. We have this power to create. So as we begin to read the book of Genesis this week, we come together to think about how we can innovate, to think about how we can solve our problems in new ways. Let us have the strength and courage to dig deeper and to discover new ways to overcome our obstacles.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joyce Saul, and it's been my honor to chair the Board of Directors of Jewish Family Services for the past 2 years. Thank you for joining us virtually for our 2020 annual meeting. Tonight, we come together to catch our collective breath and enjoy a bright spot, the opportunity to reflect on accomplishments of the past year and to thank the staff, funders, donors, partners, and volunteers whose support is absolutely critical to the work we do. We deeply appreciate the important role you play in ensuring Jewish Family Services can provide the best possible services to the Central Ohio community. Before we get to the heart of our Jewish Family Services story, we have a very short bit of business, our transition to new lay leadership. Along with our strong staff and executive leadership, our organization is blessed to have a wonderful board of directors whose members dedicate their time, talent, and treasure to Jewish Family Services. Tonight, we'd like to recognize and thank outgoing board members, Rabbi Rick Kellner, Naomi Lamb, and Rocky Robbins for their years of service to the agency, as well as our immediate past chair, Galen Bach. It is also my distinct pleasure to recognize our incoming board chair, Pam Gurwin, and new board secretary, Jenny Goldson. I am confident that Pam and Jenny, along with the vice chair, Austin Barger, and treasurer, Larry Gordon, will lead us well in the coming years. I am pleased as well to welcome our 4 new board members, Greg Jefferson, Ginny Schlonsky, Rabbi Tali Zelkowitz, and Abdi Farah. I would also like to thank our continuing board members, and we would not have the same impact on changing lives without their important service. Thank you. And we could not conduct an annual meeting without acknowledging the strong partners and generous donors and funders who make Jewish Family Services work possible. This year, I'd like to particularly recognize our funder and partner, Jewish Columbus. In addition to providing ongoing funding for our general operations and our work with Holocaust survivors, this year, Jewish Columbus has gone above and beyond by raising funds to address the Jewish community's security concerns and to help us meet the needs of community members who are struggling as a result of the pandemic. We are truly grateful. Like the Jewish people, Jewish Family Services is small but mighty. We do a lot with an annual budget of just $3.6 million and a staff of 55. In this year of unprecedented disruption and challenges, our agency touched the lives of over 11,000 people. Our economic impact is real and measurable. This past year, we helped 703 individuals find jobs, producing $23 million in wages and earned $5.7 million in taxes paid. This is a 20% increase from last year in the number of people who got jobs. When you consider that 1/3 of our fiscal year fell during the initial stages of the pandemic, that is an incredible accomplishment. And the return on investment is also impressive. The taxes alone nearly doubled our funders' workforce program investments of $2.9 million. And now we have a short story from our CEO, Karen Mosenter, and our Director of New American Services, Tariq Muhammad.
Jewish Family Services has been serving the New American community and New Americans since we were founded almost 113 years ago. And at that time, it was to serve European immigrants who were coming here and building a home in Central Ohio. And that has continued to be an important part of our work and our mission ever since. Our New Country, New Jobs team. They work closely with the refugee community. Many are from the refugee community, our staff members. And they work very closely with businesses all around town. And so Tariq, if you could, tell us a story, one of our big success stories from this year with a particular company that you got to know very well.
One of the largest distribution companies here in Central Ohio reached out to us based on our reputations of supporting new Americans into these types of employment. Once they reached out to us, we did not always talk about how can we get people to you. We talked about how can we build a long-term relationship. Our Director of Business Services and I reached out to the company and we did a 2-hour workshop on cultural competency. Based on that knowledge, we helped 7 refugees obtain employment, full-time employment with the company.
Okay, so 7 at first, and then what happened with the company after that?
So there are challenges. Within challenges, there are also success. The challenges was the first 7 people were hired. There were religious needs that they needed. There were a few things that the company and the individuals did not understand. What we did was we immediately came and negotiated those challenges, and immediately after that, from 7 to 20 to 40, and the numbers at the moment is 140 people from the community, New American community, are full-time employed with that company.
The other thing I wanted to share was that this was not just a success story for one company, but it really became a great success story for us this year for the agency, for the New American community, and for other employers. Because once the word got out about what had happened with this one particular company, we literally had carfuls of New Americans who showed up at our office looking for employment. And our team worked with them and reached out to other employers and helped more people get jobs. And my favorite part was that these people would show up at our door and say, they told us to come to the Jews will get you a job. And by the Jews, I'm talking about my Somali Muslim colleague here, Tariq.
Like I said, it takes a village.
JFS changed my life in so many ways. It gave me the strength to start a job search in the middle of a pandemic.
And you can also tell that everyone cares that you have dealt with. They're very much paying attention to the sensitivity in which you are going through and have tremendous empathy for what you're going through.
The JFS program gave me direction. They saved me a lot of time with the tips that we learned about just going through the job search process.
I hope that the members of JFS understand what they're doing for people and that they know the gratitude which is out there, because I can tell you that all of the members of the groups that I've been attending, the virtual groups, I mean, we've talked outside of this because we've created our own little network. They're extremely grateful.
Going through this process virtually was a big surprise to me. I'm used to working with Teams and Zoom through in the business meetings that I would arrange or participate in, but here is a brand new audience of job seekers that, for the most part, I didn't know any of them. And we developed such a closeness in a very short period of time, and it was very effective.
They helped me tremendously. They were reaching out through Ahmad and his team. I received emails, phone calls every week. During this pandemic, I'm a single mom with 4, so I have kids, and 2 of them were preemies, so I needed to be at home. So having the technology for me to work from home was a great help. He talked to me and he prepared me for my interviews, and his team, they gave me calls to make sure I had any other needs. With me being a single mom, making sure my babies had enough formula, diapers, or anything other items that I needed for my older kids. Thank you, Jewish Family Services, for helping me get on my feet, helping me find my employment, and helping me with any needs that I needed with my children. And now I'm moving up the ladder at my employment, and I appreciate you still checking in on me and still making sure that I have everything that I need.
So the agency created these programs to ensure that they still had a sense of community and they were not isolated. One thing that we've always said in this agency, especially with our Holocaust survivors, is to continue to build that sense of community, and they feel a part of the community, in the Jewish community, and even in Columbus. So, during the pandemic, with our senior and Holocaust survivors, we really jumped in when the lockdown happened. We started delivering meals and produce to our seniors and Holocaust survivors. So that gave us an opportunity to actually see them in person as well. So we got food, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, soaps, produce, anything that they really needed, we ensured that they had so they could continue to stay in their homes. So the use of technology for our seniors and Holocaust survivors is something new. Not all have that technology, so it's been a learning process. It's something that we want to increase and do more now because we don't know when this pandemic is going to be over. And this helps with them connecting with each other and having that sense of community. So that's why we were doing the book club, movie club, anything with Zoom. The Urban Zen was a really good program where they could come to our office and participate. Now they're able to do that via Zoom. Yeah, so throughout this whole pandemic, our Holocaust survivors and our seniors have been extremely thankful for what Jewish Family Services staff, donors, community members have done. A few things that they said is, we feel like you haven't forgot about us during this time. You know, we may not be able to see our family and our friends, but we get to see you, and we know that you're gonna be there for us regardless of what our needs are. So that's a great feeling.
The governor characterized us as essential workers because the work we do is critical to the physical and mental health, the livelihoods, and the lives of so many people. All those things have been threatened by this pandemic. Our clients have suffered. But as my mother of blessed memory taught me, no matter how bad things get, we need to find and focus on the bright spots. At Jewish Family Services, we've seen a lot of bright spots during this crisis. As you have just seen, our staff has developed new ways to deliver services, as well as completely new services in order to meet emerging and rising community needs. When the pandemic shut down most of our in-person services, our team developed new ways to help ensure the safety of Holocaust survivors and other seniors, from contactless delivery of healthy food, PPE, and other essentials, to connecting seniors with technology. Staff continuously assessed our clients' evolving needs and developed solutions. What our clients needed most was connection with others. So we began offering new programming like virtual chair yoga, Zoom movie club, and a book group, and an online grief group to help our clients stay in touch with us and one another. Many new relationships formed in this virtual environment. Volunteers picked up groceries and medications and make friendly calls to ease isolation and assist staff with weekly food deliveries, creating shared moments of joy. As you've also seen, our career services team found new ways to serve an increasing number of job seekers. They leapt into this new reality with a wealth of new digital workshops, coaching videos, virtual hiring events, and online networking. Job seekers made that leap right alongside us. They and others logged in and began landing new opportunities, some of them without ever having set foot in our building. Even in normal times, job loss brings many challenges, from financial instability to anxiety and depression. At the onset of the pandemic, we began providing telecounseling and helped clients navigate the labyrinth of available benefits and community services. Thanks to our funders, we've been able to also provide financial assistance to help clients with food, rent, utilities, and other emergency needs. We're also working to bridge the digital divide for clients by connecting them with low-cost internet services and providing laptops, enabling them to participate in virtual job skills training and get into employment. The world has changed and will continue to change. Many of those changes are here to stay. At Jewish Family Services, crisis has bred innovation. We found new ways to serve more people and to do so more effectively and more cost-effectively. We're not turning back. We'll continue to move forward, working together as a staff and with our funders and partners in Central Ohio and across our national and international networks. No matter what lies ahead, we will continue to find, focus on, and be the bright spots.
The Janice B. Ballas Award recognizes my mother. During her short life, she made meaningful and even groundbreaking contributions to the Jewish and non-Jewish communities in education, healthcare, the arts, and the welfare of children and families. This year's recipient, Dr. Amy Acton, has made significant contributions to the education and health of our community throughout her career. She has committed her professional life to building healthy communities where people can reach their full potential. Most recently, Dr. Acton showed us what leadership looks like as the director of the Ohio Department of Health at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Ohio House Minority Leader Amelia Sykes called her the real MVP of Ohio's coronavirus response. And the New York Times created a video featuring Dr. Acton as the leader we wish we all had. These accolades are well-deserved. She inspired and comforted millions by displaying her vulnerability and empathy during an incredibly frightening time. She did all this in the face of death threats and protests, some of them in her own front yard. Not only did Dr. Acton change lives and inspire others to do so, she saved lives, thousands of them, through her steady and compassionate leadership. We are so proud to recognize Dr. Acton as a member of the Jewish community and the granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor. Dr. Acton exemplifies the values that guide Jewish Family Services and which this award was designed to recognize, as she lives her Jewish values by caring for the most vulnerable among us. On behalf of the Ballas and Katz families and the staff and Board of Trustees of Jewish Family Services, it is my honor to present this year's Janice B. Ballas Award to Dr. Amy Acton.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Amy Acton, and I just have to say, I am absolutely honored to be here with you tonight and to accept this award in honor of Janice Ballas. You need to know that it's not a joke. I am just the tip of the iceberg on this. I worked with 1,100 staff, a governor and his team, 113 local health departments, in the middle of a once in 100-year experience. there were all the frontline responders, and now there are the teachers and the coaches and everyone else on the front lines. In truth, we're all on the front lines of this journey together. A lot of people have thought about the things that happen. Maybe lately the word harassment has been used, and certainly I did experience some of that. It was a very surprising day at the State House when at Passover I just talked about, going home to do my first virtual Seder and talking about, maybe bragging about my matzo ball soup that led to some pretty violent protests. And it was a wake-up call for me. I will admit that I didn't see that coming. But I think it's really important to know, first of all, that is not at all a reason that I would ever back down. In fact, I am more committed and more determined than ever in this fight to help people, the work I've done my whole life. But I can tell you that what people aren't hearing about was the 80% of people that reached out, that supported the work we're doing. I really talked a lot during this about the layers of Swiss cheese for anyone who followed me. It was about these non-pharmaceutical interventions that we layered the Swiss cheese, and there's holes, but if you line those Swiss cheese layers up, eventually you kind of cover up those holes. But there's a really important one that I think we're gonna need for what I think are gonna be some hard times ahead. It's gonna get dark, it's gonna get cold, we're gonna move inward. We have elections coming up. And I am believing, and the work I've set out to do now is on kindness. And this isn't nice, this is fierce, but I truly believe that we have to intentionally layer into everything we do this commitment to kindness and social justice. Like the late John Lewis spoke about in his eulogy most recently, but has been spoken about throughout the ages. Like Rabbi Hillel talks about, first, what do you do for yourself? I will say kindness, because probably one of the hardest things to do is kindness, I know for me, to myself. And we need that gentleness going forward. Then what are we doing for each other? We're really going to have to reach across these divides kindly. And then if not now, when? So my enticement to you is that when we don our mask, every time you put this on, and you're doing it often to be good to others and watch out for those who might be vulnerable, that you do a little bit of a meditative reminder of kindness every single time you do it, to yourself and to others, and you think of the ways that you uniquely can express that in these months to come. If we all do this together, that will be quite a collective push. So don your mask, don your cape, don kindness intentionally. I think that will be this extra layer to what we're doing that will truly transform the healing of this country and get us through these months ahead. So that is my wish for you, to walk in that kindness. And I'm so very, very grateful for this award. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Acton. Your compassionate leadership during these uncertain times continues to inspire us all. I am Pam Gurwin, incoming board chair of Jewish Family Services. As we wrap up, I want to take this opportunity to thank outgoing board chair Joy Saul for sharing so much of her time and talent with us these past years. Her leadership has been an energizing and driving force for our board, and I'm excited to take the baton. Thank you, Joy. And now, before we go, it is my hope that all of you joining us tonight will consider ways you might be able to support the critical work we do, whether it's spreading the word about the ways Jewish Family Services is making a difference, connecting us to businesses who need help with hiring or want to expand their civic engagement, sharing your time and energy as a volunteer, or if you are in a position to contribute financially, making a donation to fund our critical services. An unprecedented number of individuals and families are experiencing hardship, and these numbers continue to rise. This makes it more important than ever for those who can give to do so. You can make your gift by following the instructions on the screen. None of us know what this next year will bring. We certainly could not have predicted what the past year has brought. These are extraordinary times. I have the fullest confidence that with your help, the dedicated team at Jewish Family Services will continue to provide the caring and robust services our community so desperately needs. Whatever lies ahead, we will continue to extend our rich history of changing lives. From our team at Jewish Family Services to your family, thank you and good night.